So we have several questions, but I want to go to the next person who had her hand up. Vratika?
Yes. Hello, sir.
Hi.
I have a question. What makes you think that this is what makes it a better copywriting? Like, what makes you sure that this is what is my best work and this is what I'm going to give my client? What makes you sure this will sell?
Okay, two things. I don't think this is a statement I always make make to clients. They always, when they meet me for the first time, they say, KK, we'd like to see your best work. I always tell them that, look, my best work has not yet come. Hopefully, it'll be the one that I do for you.
Wow, love that.
So now, best work is very difficult to define. Best in what sense? Best in the aesthetic sense, best in the sense of logic, best in terms of results. Advertising is a funny field. Sometimes bad work become big successes, and sometimes good work do not succeed. So I would say success should not be the barometer for checking, what is the best work. Much of the time, if you work as in the advertising industry and when you write for a client, there are always compromises to be made. Because every client has a point of view of what is good and what is bad.
Yeah.
And you cannot really change that very quickly.
Yes.
Over a period of association, maybe, provided the egos are not very large and provided he's willing to experiment or she's willing to experiment, then you can change. So again, it may not be my best work because sometimes what I write and what actually comes out, there's a difference. So very difficult to say that.
Okay.
That's why I say that maybe the one that I write for you will be the best. It's also a hook.
We had another question in the chat. Someone's wanting to know, when you write for the client, what's the role of your creativity or inner voice?
Inner voice is a very large concept that I will write when I write my own book. You have heard some of my inner voices, the self versus circumstance, the learning and earning, all of that is a part of my inner voice. Hardly anything of that comes in the advertising work. This is hardcore selling. If what I write does not sell their product or their point of view or their service, they will kick me away. Just like that. There's no mercy. I always say that yesterday's awards will not buy me lunch today. You have to do it every day. Does that answer
Does that answer? I don't know who this person is. They have a Galaxy as their name, so I can't call them by name. Does that answer your question, Galaxy M51? Okay. Amruta will come to you in just a moment. Preeti is wanting you to kindly guide 12, 13-year-old children to develop language skills. How would you guide them as the next generation of content writers?
Read. Just keep reading. Because nothing opens your mind to communication as reading. And read good authors. Read the Hemingways of the world. Read even modern contemporary writers. And there are two ways to learn the craft of writing. One is that you learn the craft you're taught by somebody. Second is that you internalize it when you read good writers. So reading is very important. And if you are doing a lot of reading, then you can start with writing something. In the age of the internet, you don't have problem in access to knowledge, or rather, not access to knowledge, access to information. In the age of the internet, knowledge is lost, information is abundant. So you can get information about how to write better. There are many tools that you have which will guide you in, and score your writing in terms of legibility, cohesiveness, presentation. So there's a lot of these internet tools which will even change, which will also give you corrections on your grammar. So you can use all of those. Some available freely, some you're going to pay for.
And we often hear the advice, if you want to become a better writer, practice, practice, practice. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. For anything. You want to be a musician, practice, practice, practice. You want to be, so if you look at the life of people like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, you'll find that they were compulsive, obsessive about what they did. They would spend nights after nights on the IBM mainframe because that was the only time it was free. And they mastered it in such a short time that they ruled the industry. So practice in everything.
Yeah, yeah. Amruta, I think we have time for your question.
Hello, sir. So
Hello.
my question is, generally when I write something, I often keep thinking that it's not good enough, and I keep erasing it, rewriting it over and over again, and nothing really makes me think that, oh, this is good. So this, I don't know, it just, how do I fight this perfectionist self and just go ahead with the story?
Suspend the mind. Completely suspend the mind. You see, if you understand something about the mind, or let me try and explain this, the mind is a problem-solving machine. It thrives on looking at problems and creating solutions for that. Why do they say the idle mind is the devil's workshop? Because the idle mind does not have a problem to solve. Right? So
yes,
suspend the mind. There is more to a human life than the mind. There is something which is called as the self, which sits quietly and just witnesses, does not make any comments. The mind is always commenting.
Yeah.
So if you want to develop, you have to suspend the commenting nature. What is it called? It's called the small voice in your head.
Yeah.
That is what is telling you that it's not right, it's not right, it's not right.
Yes.
All right. And it's always comparing. Stop comparing. Stop the voice, that small voice in your head. Just write. Do not assess it immediately. Let it mature. Do you know that when you make bread, you
leave it
knead
aside.
the dough, you add the yeast, and you leave it for some time before you come back and bake it. Leave it for some time. Do not be disconnect from it. Then come back maybe the next day and then see. And go with the flow. Do not keep questioning yourself, because what that does is, it's like if you are trying to run, there's always a stick that is poked between your legs, you'll trip. And that's what's happening to you.
Yeah.
Suspend the mind and be easy. No hurry.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, one last quick, I think this will be a quick question about somebody's wanting to know your favorite authors from the past, present, or any of your favorite books or authors.
Two authors that I personally loved very much was Hemingway and Norman Mailer. Both of them were early influences in my young days. But I've been a voracious reader in my early days. I would practically spend 6 hours a day reading. I was a member of almost every library in Bombay, and instead of going to college, I would go from library to library and keep reading books.